Chapter 21 talks about different ecosystems. Chapter 21, Section 1 is where we'll be focusing, and here we're going to look at terrestrial biomes. So biomes, we're talking about large terrestrial ecosystems or land ecosystems that contain smaller ecosystems within them. And we're going to look at 7 of the major biomes. The first one that we will look at is the tundra, and some basic characteristics of the tundra: very cold temperatures, very little precipitation. One of the key factors in tundra to distinguish it between others is its permafrost, and basically that is a layer of frost in the soil that does not allow many types of organisms to grow there, especially big trees, things that are going to have a big root system, because they're not going to be able to get through that frozen ground. And the soil there is also very nutrient poor. So some plants that you would see in the tundra: mosses, things that are just more ground covering, nothing with big roots. And then animals, you're looking at things like caribou, snowy owls, Arctic foxes, things like that. The taiga is a little bit south, usually, in, if you look at the map earlier here in the notes. So it's a little south of the tundra. So it's still very cold, but not quite as cold as the tundra. There's still very little precipitation, not great soil as far as the amount of nutrients goes. The plants that we're starting to see here, though, are going to be more evergreens and things that have needles that will not lose as much water as leafy plants will. And the types of animals that you would look at would be moose, bears, wolves, and a lot of those types of animals will go through dormancy or hibernation during the extremely cold times of the year. Temperate deciduous forest is where we live. We have temperate weather. You have the seasons, summer, fall, winter, spring. We have average precipitation, moderate soil nutrients, and here's where we start seeing a lot more leafy trees. And then animals, you look out your window and you get any of those animals that you see, that's what we have. So deer, raccoons, squirrels, and so on. The temperate grassland, which is also known as the prairie, also has temperate weather, so some cold, some warm. It has average precipitation, and one of its features is that it has very rich soil. So a lot of what we use for topsoil around here in gardening is similar to the type of soil that is available in the grasslands, which is why it's big on farming, and that makes it an endangered biome, actually, because many areas have been over-farmed and the nutrients weren't replenished quickly enough, and now nothing will grow there. Some plants that you see in the grassland: obviously tall, dense grasses, and animals, a lot of grazing animals, so bison and cattle, things like that. In the desert, something kind of unique is that you can have a cold desert or a hot desert, or one that's a combination of the two. They have very little precipitation, dry, sandy, nutrient poor soil, and like I said, the temperatures can be extreme, so they can be very hot in the day and very cold at night. Plants, cacti, a lot of things that will be able to conserve water. And then animals, lizards, snakes, and other types of organisms like those. The savanna, which is also called the chaparral, has moderate temperatures. Something unique about it is that it has a wet season and a dry season. So for part of the year, there's a lot of rain, and for the second half, it's mostly drought conditions. And the soil here is relatively poor in nutrients. You'll have a lot of tall grasses and some skinnier type trees, as you would see in this little animation here. Some animals, zebras, giraffes, leopards, many of those would live in the savanna. And the last biome that we'll talk about is the tropical rainforest. And this one has very warm temperatures, lots of rain, and the soil actually is not really full of very many nutrients, believe it or not. The plants, tons of different types of plants, especially leafy trees that help to form a canopy. So this is a unique feature about the tropical rainforest. A lot of the trees, their branches start to kind of intertwine and form a canopy high above the surface of the ground, and that lets very little light actually through. Animals, there's a great variety of animals here. Most of the world's species actually live in tropical rainforests. And just a few examples: parrots, monkeys, snakes, lots of frogs, and many other bird species.